Gabe played against him, and you can see that matchup. One of the interesting things to know matchup-wise, and Boat Brew is a bit of a red-white control deck. It's pretty aggressive, though, so calling it control is not necessarily correct either. But anyway, it's sort of an aggro control deck, and has a lot of card economy, and it's one of the decks that our nice 5-color deck really shines against. And here's another. You can read more coverage right here. This is nifty, where Gabriel faced off against a top Japanese pro who was running running fairies, and we really made a nice evolution, in the deck to shore up our fairies matchup and to kind of get better in that matchup. So you can check that out. I'm gonna pause here and I'll go back to our deck. And by the way, if I sound a bit excited, I am. This is sort of my one of my fun time activities. I'm not really a pro Magic competitor anymore. I retired years and years ago. Did a little bit of team play at some point with my teammates Justin Schneider and Mike Krzyzwicki, and that was a bit of a fun era in my career. But nowadays, I really, I've never stopped building decks, and I've never stopped loving building decks ever since I first started playing Magic, and that was all the way back in, I guess, 1995. Just really love the process of deck building. And there's a number of best practices that David Mills and I developed over the years. And nowadays I focus my deck building. For a while, Dave Williams, who's a dear friend of mine, a protege of mine from the Magic days, would, play the decks that I built. And, I would often get help from Pat Chapin. That's where Domain Zoo sort of arrived during Pro Tour LA a few years back. But more recently, I've kind of made it a concerted effort of mine to support some of the top pros, and primarily working with Patrick Chapin. And I'm really blown away with Patrick at his knowledge of the game, his dedication to the game and its players, and his mastery of the game. I met Patrick all the way back at Pro Tour Dallas in the second Magic season, and he came up to me. I was watching a top 8 where my teammate Justin Schneider, actually I was watching the finals of what was called the Junior World Championship at the time, and my teammate Justin Schneider, who was playing my prison deck, and you may not know what a prison deck is, but that's okay. I was watching Justin play this prison deck and winning the World Championship, and Patrick had taken third in the tournament. And he pulled me aside and introduced himself to me. I think he was maybe 15 years old, maybe 14 years old at the time, and I was really kind of impressed with his energy and his ideas. And we've been good friends ever since. And I really can't say enough about the job that Patrick has done in the last year. And it's fun for me to share this with you. Because a lot of it has been expressed in the creation of this nifty standard deck that we've just had good results with again and again. At nationals, I think a couple of our teammates made top 8. I know Mark Herberholz certainly made top 8 with it. Then at Worlds, we had really mathematically the best performing standard deck. None of our teammates happened to make top 8, but we still really pretty much had a deck that we were very, very happy with. We feel like it was, if not the best deck, certainly one of the best decks. And then once again, here we have, our keeper control deck is what I'm calling it now, keeper, made, top 8 again. And I think that Gabriel's got a nice chance. Of course, it's going to be a battle for him to win. By the way, congratulations to Gabriel for making his, tying Kai Bude with his 9th Pro Tour top 8. I myself had quite a nice Magic career, and I only made, I think, 4 Pro Tour top 8s. I'm not exactly sure, but I really, my hat's off to Gabriel. I'm certainly rooting for him today, and I think he's got a good chance. We'll get into some of the matchups as we go on. Now, I'm going to kind of start, as I give you the overview of this deck, I'm going to break this deck down to you in a way that David Mills calls the 4 perspectives. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this deck and take you through our way of looking at things. And the first thing, in giving an overview of this deck, really we want to kind of start with our lands. Actually, I'm not I'm going to move this around a little bit, but I'm going to access our lands. Most importantly, now you're going to hear a lot of talk about synergy whenever we're talking about Magic the Gathering decks, and that's certainly true. It's certainly very much a part of Magic deck building is synergy. But we want to keep in mind that synergy also involves our lands, and it's a very, very important lesson. And one of the things that happened during the whole Lorwyn, the creation of the Lorwyn and so forth, is these nifty, the reprinting of Reflecting Pool and these nifty Vivid lands. And they just have this great interaction with Reflecting Pool. And this is a funny deck because obviously we've got 3 color spells, we've got triple blue spells, triple black, double red, double red all over the place. We've got actually three color cards because we've got these Esper Charms, our Brewmate Dragons, and we've got our Cruel Ultimatums. Pull that card up. We've got a triple blue for these Cryptic Commands. Out of our sideboard, we've got some Infest, that's double black. We've got a bunch of Scepters of Fouge. Those are double black and require another black to activate them. And we've got Wrath of God as well, so that's double white. So we're going all over the place. Now, we this time we decided not to play green, and that was kind of an innovation for this deck. So again, this is not a 5-color deck. It's just simply not. And again, I'm calling it the Keeper. I think that's a nice, fun name for it. Always good to call back to the old days of Magic. So we have this neat interaction between the Reflecting Pool and these nifty filter lands that they also printed. I want to take my hats off, by the way, to the research and development department. I know a lot of the members of those guys, a lot of the guys I used to play against and team with. My teammate from the 1996 World Championship U.S. national team, Matt Place, is one of the top guys who's bringing us these great cards. Aaron Forsyth, who Aaron Forsyth, who knocked me out of nationals one year. I think it was in 1999 or something like that. He's one of the top guys and just does a great job. Mike Turian, who was a kind of a constant collaborator. I don't know if we were ever particularly teammates, but somebody who I really respect. And there's a number of other guys that are that are involved in this process of this deck construction and deck building. And I love it when they print lands that allow players to cast their spells. I think it's so much fun when we can cast our spells and get the right mana without kind of burning to death on our lands and taking a bunch of extra pain and suffering. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. I think this is a fun era of Magic and deck construction. There's nifty things that we can do. So wanted to give them a quick shout out. You can get the exact deck list, and I'm going to show you exactly where it is right. And I'm back on sideboard.com with their coverage of Pro Tour Kyoto. And as we scroll down here, we'll see top 8 deck lists from Standard. Pulling that up right now. Hopefully this isn't too disorienting for you. This is Luis Scott Vargas. By the way, speaking of hats off, this guy, something, I think 18 straight match wins or something like that. Our Tongo Nation teammate Kyle Rose at one point won, I think 13 or 14 straight, and it just blew me away. I've certainly never won. I think maybe at some point I won 10 matches straight, or I don't know, but 18, that's just crazy. So hats off, he's just excellent. Pro Tour champion from Pro Tour Berlin, and very, very much in position to win this event as well. This is Brian Robinson, who's playing the deck that we call Monsters Inc. And I'll get to that in another video. But I'm scrolling down, and here's Gabriel Nassif's deck. I think it'll help a little bit to both see the written names of the cards, because obviously looking on Magic Online, it can be a bit disorienting. Okay, let's break down the lands, and it's really nifty. Once again, Patrick just did a great job of Patrick, Manuel, and Wafo-Tapa, and Mark Herberholz was very important in the deck testing of this deck. Actually, Mike Jacobs helped, I believe, as well. We refined a mana base by getting rid of the green, where we're really getting great consistency out of our deck. One of the important things to realize about this mana base, see, we have these Sunken Ruins. Between our 4 Sunken Ruins, our 4 Reflecting Pools, and our 2 Exotic Orchards. This is a new card. I want to point Exotic Orchard out. This is a very nifty land. Orchard, here we go. And this is from the new set. And what it does, Conflux, it's from Conflux. What Exotic Orchard does is it allows us to gain a mana of any color land that our opponent controls.